This is not going to have anything to do with the coronavirus epidemic. This is going to be about a man named NeilPeart and a book he wrote entitled Ghost Rider. Quite some time ago, I was thinking about people who were lost, some physically, some emotionally. And I read some books about people who were lost. One of them was about a young woman who was not having much luck in finding her way through life. Help came to her in the form of a band, a musical band, Rush. She very strongly identified with their songs, and this gave her badly needed support to her in forming a strong and secure sense of self. Because of this, I spent quite a bit of time on the internet acquainting myself with the music of the band Rush. I had heard a few of their songs, but did not pay much attention to them. Their shrill sound was not quite what I liked. But I could understand their attraction to lost souls like that young woman, insisting on the message that it's perfectly all right to be different, the odd person out. Many of the lyrics were written by the band's drummer, NeilPeart. The band had many intensely loyal fans. It was a real cult thing. And Peart also drew much favor, both for his drumming and his words. And I saw that he had also written several books. The title of one of them caught my eye, and I ordered it through the library. Time passed, and eventually I forgot all about this. I had the book on hold, and the list for it must have been a long one. All those Rush devotees. And what happened in the long time before the library notified me that it was waiting is that I forgot that I had ordered it, and the author, NeilPeart, had died. He had tumors in his brain, and he died over a span of 3 years. This was especially eerie because the book I ordered was called Ghost Rider, Traveling on the Healing Road. Peart wrote it after a particularly rough patch in his life. The man who was responsible, in part, for helping a young person find herself had gotten lost. He and his wife, by common law, saw their daughter off to college. On her way, she got into a one-car crash and died. Peart's wife was completely undone. Overcome by grief, she did not want to live. After half a year, while she learned that she was dying of cancer, when she learned she was dying of cancer, she was relieved. It took a few terrible months for her to die, and that left Peart with nothing. He wrote, "I don't even know who I am, what I am to do, or what I'm supposed to do." He was lost. He was also financially quite well off. He had a feeling that if he was moving, physically moving, he might continue to live. So he set out on his motorcycle on what he called the road to healing. He rode like a madman. Over 2 years, he covered over 55,000 miles, driving 500 and 600 miles a day. 500 and 600 miles a day, day after day, across Canada, America, Mexico. He called it a healing road, but to my mind, it was also a form of punishment, as if he had somehow been responsible for the terrible events in his life. He had failed to protect the ones he loved. He was racing away to escape from that, put distance between himself and that. He sometimes took wild risks in bad weather on slick, rocky gravel roads. He pushed into the risk as if daring death to claim him, and he kept going. Going on was preferable to stopping and letting the recent past catch up to him. His wife stopped and she died. He kept moving. Motion was life. There was also a faint hope in what he called his little baby soul, that in moving he might find a purpose. And in the business of travel, constructing an itinerary, maintaining the motorcycle, stopping for food and shelter, that was a useful distraction. Bad roads and bad weather forced him to focus on the task of driving. He was an exile, a drifter, a saddle tramp, the ghost rider. I was reminded of the Odyssey, that long road, and the diving bell and the butterfly, the life constricted suddenly to nearly nothing. He saw ghosts everywhere and realized he was one. The more I read, the sadder I became. I'm accustomed to reading dead authors. Most of the ones I read are long gone, but this was so recent, and the book itself didn't know what was ahead. And then I found myself reading about how the author felt about reading dead or ghost authors as he came across them, their haunts in his travels. Jack London, Ernest Hemingway, John Steinbeck. Peart was a voracious man. He was a voracious reader, a voracious writer, a voracious drummer, a voracious liver of life. Unfortunately for me, his book detoured into copies of letters he wrote as he rode. Reading other people's private mail makes me uncomfortable, as if I was putting on their underwear. I didn't enjoy those letters. He kept at it, finding out that simple platitudes are true, still feeling betrayed by life, until he fell in love and amor vincit omnia. And that's a wrap. But by then, he had gone on too long. Plus, I was put off by the letters, and he had lost me as a boon companion. I'm glad he found his way out, and sad that death was waiting for him so soon. That death makes the ghost rider even spookier.